Two reckless cover-ups are unfolding right now. Epstein and unidentified aerial phenomena, once known as UFOs. Both are moving fast, both are coordinated, and both hide something world-changing. They involve a breakaway civilization, a small group of people who possess real secrets and real impunity. Strangely, both are very interested in groundbreaking physics. In this latest Average History, I'll give my opinion on why it is critical to return these breakaway civilizations to our own. In fact, it's the most important work of Western democracies, even under the threat of global heating. Because, more than ever, we need the most important quote of the 20th century in the 21st. Seek truth from facts. Stay with me, Team Average.
Looked down a small, saw a white tic-tac object with a longitudinal axis pointing north-south and moving very abruptly over the water like a ping-pong ball.
Part 1. Unidentified Aerial Phenomena, UAPs.
Here's the million-dollar question. Do you believe that a higher form of non-human intelligence has visited this planet?
Right. So non-human intelligence exists. Non-human intelligence has been interacting with humanity. This interaction is not new, and it's been ongoing. And there are unelected people in the government that are aware of that.
Something is happening in our skies, our waters, and maybe even our minds. No one in power, no one with full access, has credibly explained it. The cover-up is real, the lack of transparency is real, and the secrecy surrounding the phenomenon is deeply confusing and unsettling. A tiny group knows a lot more, and they are absolutely sharing none of it. Now, the last thing the world needs is another UFO UAP channel. There are already brilliant voices actually doing this work. I want to introduce you to the people who I trust. Jeremy Corbell, the activist turning classified UAP encounters into breaking news. His latest, a disc-shaped craft hiding in cloud cover. His mentor, the legend, the OG, who first blew the lid off Area 51 and Bob Lazar, George Knapp. And the story they're building on their podcast Weaponized is growing stranger by the day. Jesse Michaels is a newcomer, but he's already making waves. His final interview with former presidential advisor Harold Malmgren is extraordinary. Michaels has done the best work on the gravity research that went black in the 1950s, science that could rewrite physics. If true, this is the thread that could unravel everything we've been told about energy, technology, and power. Ross Coulthart picked up the journalist baton from Knapp. With sources buried deep inside the cover-up, he's delivered explosive stories, like introducing the world to whistleblower David Grush on News Nation. And he continues to make huge revelations on Reality Check.
We have spacecraft from another species.
We do, yeah.
And then there's my sentimental favorite, Richard Dolan, the historian, author of the most detailed accounts of sightings, crash retrievals, and contacts. Dolan reminds us, nothing happening now is truly new. One example, he dug up a tic-tac UFO sighting from the 1930s in the Canadian archives, decades before the modern Navy encounters. And we owe Dolan for coining the very phrase at the heart of this video, breakaway civilization. A group beyond law, beyond oversight, a group possibly holding future tech and free energy.
Breakaway civilization was a term made famous by Richard Dolan, and it simply described a decision to create a parallel system. You know, first it started with a black budget, but it grew, call it the national security state. But to build a civilization that literally was separate and not subject to the laws of the existing ones. So in theory, 21 trillion is enough at a 5%, interest rate to basically finance a a private government, if you will.
Right now, I only have my own critical faculties to weigh the merits of the evidence they present. And as someone who spent one of the worst 2 weeks of my life in survival, evasion, resistance, and escape training, I can tell you firsthand just how skilled the clandestine world is. We must rebuild some semblance of trust in our institutions and with each other. There is another cover-up, one that was promised to be exposed. In our own historic time, these two cover-ups collide, like on the highway battle in The Matrix. Part 2. The Epstein Puzzle. At first, I didn't pay attention to Jeffrey Epstein. I accepted the media narrative.
The disgraced financier Jeffrey Epstein is dead.
A disgraced financier with criminal and disturbing private habits, helping his rich friends indulge theirs on his special island. But since his death in prison, the mysteries deepened. Plenty of people in power, on TV, in Washington, know more than they let on. It's only now being brought to light because a sitting U.S. president was very friendly with this convicted sex trafficker, a president who promised to expose it all after his election. Epstein's private island wasn't just a crime scene, it was a science lab. He poured money into cutting-edge research on gravity at Harvard and MIT, the same obsession driving the UAP cover-up. Two secret worlds chasing the same physics. These two obvious coordinated cover-ups now overlap. Diligent work has been done by the clandestine services to stigmatize adults who point out this coordination. That stigma was no accident. In 1953, the CIA convened the Robertson Panel, a group of elite scientists and intelligence officers, not to solve the UFO mystery, but to neutralize it. Their conclusion? Public belief in UFOs was a direct threat. They recommended a coordinated debunking campaign to make the topic seem ridiculous. That playbook worked for decades, and we're still living in its shadow. Now a similar playbook, albeit in our social media age, has already been rolled out by the Trump government on Epstein.
What about Jeffrey Epstein? This guy's been talked about for years.
Part 3. Secrets Too Big to Tell. Why has Trump done a complete U-turn on Epstein? Kash Patel and Dan Bongino built careers chasing this cover-up. Now, in positions of power, why do they sprint the other way? What has become clear is that the secret keymasters will only let it go from their cold, dead hands.
From my cold, dead hands.
I do not care about anyone else's bedroom habits or indiscretions. Following the money would be of enormous interest. We have the receipts. Whitney Webb wrote 2 volumes on it, but no one in the Trump government now dares follow this bread trail. It risks pulling back the curtain on how the world really works. Why are these 2 important issues to grapple with? Breaking these 2 cover-ups is vitally important for Western democracies. Uncovering these secrets is an elixir to rejuvenate our civilization. For me, the UFO truth is by far more important, and I will explain why. But it is the Epstein scandal that has created a cultural awakening. We've all suspected the naked lack of transparency and impunity of our institutions and elites. Today, in glorious Technicolor, we witness how the new boss, elected to break this stranglehold, is the same as the old boss. I think it is obvious now that Epstein, in the words of Eric Weinstein, is a construct. Doesn't matter which intel service he served. My suspicion is that Compromat, The use of compromising material to control global elites is the through line that unlocks everything in this puzzle and gives a rational explanation to all of the current crazy.
When I say I think he was a construct, I literally mean that. I think he was constructed, like fitted with a story.
Murder and illegal smuggling are standard operating procedures to finance black budgets. Will trafficking children also prove part of their craft? Can there be a better definition for a breakaway civilization than a group with this kind of power, shamelessness, and impunity? Can they be punished fast enough? These breakaway civilizations probably share several members in a deeply overlapping Venn diagram. Ross Coulthart recently claimed the tic-tac witnessed by Navy pilots David Fravor and Alex Dietrich has long been reverse engineered by Lockheed Martin. The craft they witnessed off the coast of California did not fly on gasoline. Someone knows new physics and new ways of extracting vast amounts of energy. I have no idea if they are human or non-human intelligences, but Lockheed has recently said in their corporate advertising they possess magical new technology. Part 4. Truth is the Elixir. If human, it means a small, privileged group lives in the 24th century while the rest of the world stews in the 21st. And if they do, what does that mean for the rest of us? This planet still fundamentally gets its energy in the same way as the Neanderthals. We burn carbon. And as a result, we are cooking the planet. A fundamental new energy source will disrupt everything. Good. It will require massive new infrastructure investment. It will make the largest industries on the planet obsolete. We, as a species, cannot have a more mature, more urgent, or more democratic debate on how to make this transition. For me, this would be the most exciting dialogue, the most exciting work we can do in our own historic time. Truth is the elixir of rejuvenation. Mao once said, "Everything under heaven is in utter chaos. The situation is excellent." Authoritarianism grows out of the barrel of chaos, and it is growing like a weed in the West. Seeking truth from facts right now seems like an act of bravery rather than good sense. Grappling with these cover-ups, understanding the truth, and discussing the ramifications like adults is the tonic to our rapid decline. It is the ontological shock needed to wake up brains and focus actions on worthy enterprises. We can do this by illuminating UAPs and Epstein, by making them absolutely transparent, by curtailing the renegade breakaway civilizations, by grappling with real global problems, and by rejoicing in our shared humanity. Otherwise, we can struggle against the heel of growing authoritarianism. Let the boot sharpen minds and prepare bodies under its yoke for a few generations until we grow back into moral fighting shape. This is not a UAP channel. Others already do that brilliantly. But for this average historian, UAPs are impossible to ignore. The two biggest cover-ups of our time, UAPs and Epstein, lead to the same breakaway civilization. Expose them, and we begin a process of much-needed rejuvenation. When I was a kid, my dream was to go to the stars. I remember both William Shatner and Patrick Stewart delivering one of the most exciting and hopeful monologues in English, and believing we'd get there together.
Space, the final frontier.
What if some already have? What if the technology is already in human hands but locked away? If that's true, it's not just a cover-up. It's a theft of the future we were promised. And that's why this matters. Because the frontier shouldn't belong to a breakaway civilization. It should belong to all of us.
Its continuing mission to explore strange new worlds, to seek out new life and new civilizations, to boldly go where no one has gone before.
Know your alien races, Team Average, and continue the struggle to seek truth from facts. Thanks for staying with me. If you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up and share it with someone who needs to hear it. Drop a comment if this made you think, laugh, question everything, or despair. And if you're new here, hit that subscribe button to join Team Average. I'll see you in the next one.